Hello and welcome to Kitchen Connect for, I think I even know the date today, Wednesday the 29th of
Correct.
April.
Well done.
And I've remembered my name. It's Tracy, because it's a strange time, isn't it, during these COVID times. So welcome to Kitchen Connect. Really pleased to have you with me today with the sound at the beginning. So today we're talking about poaching eggs. Well, we're not just talking about it. I'm going to show you how to poach an egg. I'm going to show you how a little quick hack on how you can pre-poach your eggs so that you're not panicking at the last minute thinking, is my egg done or not? This takes all the stress out of poaching eggs. This video, you'll just feel so relaxed afterwards. You'll just think, wow, that's fantastic. So we're going to do poaching eggs. I'm going to be making some smashed avocado. I've got some lovely marinated feta, roasted tomatoes, bacon, except Emma doesn't think it's going to cook like that. But anyway, Emma is here as well, by the way. We've got homemade sourdough bread, which I'm going to turn into toast. And we've got a few little special things to put on at the end of this to make it really super duper, because I have been consulting with my friend Lisa, because last time I saw this served up at a cafe, I was with Lisa and we were actually at Daisy's in Costello, and she went, oh my gosh, this is the best smashed avocado. So I consulted with her this morning and she told me that there are a couple of things that were really, really good on the Daisy's smashed avocado on toast with feta, and so I've added them today, not on the recipe, so you'll have to watch until the end. Wicked, aren't I? So the cameraman is here today behind the camera.
Hello.
And the same old, and the trusty production team, Emma, is also here. So what would you like to encourage people to do today, Emma?
Oh, just chat away. Chat to me. I
Yeah.
get really bored doing this. So.
Like, I try and be a cabaret for everyone. I can't entertain my own daughter.
No.
Sad,
Let's
isn't it?
all talk. Let's chat. Any questions that you have, please ask.
Yep, please fire away. So, of course, I'm actually going to start and finish with the eggs, which seems a little bit peculiar, doesn't it? But because Emma was like, how are you going to fill 45 minutes with poaching eggs? She said, maybe for the final 40 minutes, you could break dance. So I looked at her and went, okay. And she said, do you know what breakdancing is? And I said, I have to be on the floor, don't I? I have to whiz around on the floor. Anyway, so let's have a look at eggs. Very, very importantly, you are going to be using fresh eggs. Rule number 1 on poaching eggs, fresh eggs. And these little babies from Charcoal Springs are the best eggs I have ever used. There's that person ringing again. What is it? About 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Has someone turned the phone volume
Yeah,
down?
I've turned the phone volume down.
Oh my gosh,
I know
you're
how
a
brilliant
genius.
is that. You probably
now
couldn't
you
even hear
probably
it.
don't even need to say that someone's calling.
That's right. So the freshness of eggs is of number 1 importance, because when an egg is fresh, has a little perky egg yolk, and then the egg white is sort of all globularly around, and I can't spell that, around the egg yolk, and then there's a little bit of liquid around the outside. So I know the Charcoal Springs pastured eggs that we also are offering at the moment with our fruit and veggie boxes that you can come pick up from me or anyone else in Mount Pleasant, Bicton, where else? Jollymont and South Frio now. So tell your friends if they live in South Frio around Jollymont, they can go and get our fruit and veggie boxes and some of these awesome Charcoal Springs pastured eggs from Manjimup, from Charlie and Colleen, hence the Charcoal Springs. So they are super fresh because they go and collect the eggs and then they come up to us on Wednesday. Is it Wednesday, Anthony? Yeah, and then you come and collect them on a Friday. So they're like 3 days old. That's all. They're absolutely fresh as a daisy. So if you want to test your eggs for freshness, if you've got some other eggs in your fridge and you want to test them for freshness, you get yourself a glass of water and you pop your egg in with the round bit facing upwards. And if the egg floats, the egg is not fresh. If the egg sinks to the bottom, the egg is fresh, because fresh eggs only have a little bit of an air sac in the round end, and as they lose their liquidity, their moistness because the shell is what's the other word? Not
Hard.
no. The moisture can come out of the egg. Not permeable. What's the word for it? Porous? Yes. So the eggshell is actually porous. So as the egg gets older, the sac at the top gets bigger and therefore the egg will float. It's all on the Cooks Collective. Colleen and I do a fantastic video showing you how to perfect eggs. Poached eggs. Okay, so someone's leaving a message now. So I have my water here in the pan boiling. Now I need to get this boiling and leave it boiling for a minute or so that I know everything is like super, super hot in that pan. So I'm going to add some vinegar. So I'm just using the apple cider vinegar, the Bragg's apple cider vinegar. Any vinegar will do as long as it's like a white vinegar. So we're talking apple cider vinegar or maybe white wine vinegar, but not red wine vinegar or sherry vinegar. It will actually make the eggs turn colour, which is not very nice at all. So just before we put the eggs in, I want to have a note. I haven't cooked the bacon. Nothing else is going on. We're just concentrating on this first. So I'm turning the pan down so that there's just a couple of bubbles in there now. But I know that this is super hot because it's been boiling for a minute or so. So the vinegar in the water is going to help to set or coagulate, set the egg white. So first off, you've got a very fresh egg, which has got a nice tight egg white around the egg yolk. And you've got water with vinegar in that has just come off the boil. Now I'm going to go really crazy and just use my hands. But the second one, I'll show you how to use a cup if you think that you may burn your fingers when the egg goes into the water. So just get the egg as close to the water as possible before you allow that to fall in like that. And you can see if the bubbles were really ferocious, it would just have that egg going bloop, 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 bloop like that all the way around, and all the egg white would sort of flail out. I think that's the word.
Disperse.
I like the word flail.
Okay.
Like, you know when someone's flailing in the water, is that a word?
Yes, it is.
Help, I'm flailing in the
Yes.
water. That's what the egg would do.
If it could talk.
No, well, it doesn't need to say that, but it's flailing.
Okay.
I'm going to need to Google that in a minute. So if you're a bit scared about putting your fingers near that boiling water, fair enough. What you can do is, I'm just turning it up just slightly. Look at that beautiful, see how that beautiful egg is just sitting there. It's just fantastic. Is pop the cup almost like into the water and just allow that egg to just drop out like that. I always say to people, it's a little bit like, see, I don't like doing it like that. I don't think it's as good. Anyway, it's a bit like if you were a kid and you went to a fair when you were younger. Perhaps you were English like me when you were younger. Now I'm Australian, of course. But you went to a fair and you won a goldfish. Like, that's what we would do. We did that every year to our parents. I had Guy Fawkes and I used to go down and win a goldfish by shoot. No, we didn't ever shoot. So we threw balls or something or other. And we used to come home, and you must never like get the plastic bag and tip the fish out like it's going down a waterfall into the tank. You must always put it in and just allow the fish to just swim out gently. Didn't happen to us the first few times that we did it. Anyway, we soon learnt about that because it often traumatized the fish so much that they floated by the next morning. The eggs I'm cooking them on about half heat, just turning them down a bit because you can see that one flailing a little bit. But this is my little tip to start off with, and then we'll cook these for real. This one is probably cooked enough to actually, I'm just being very careful with this, to actually take it out of the water. No, not quite. See how it just broke then? Perfect. I love it when things go wrong. So not quite ready, but after about another 30 seconds or so, you'll find that that egg will be okay to pick up. And I'm going to actually pop it into iced water. Because what you can actually do is you can actually cook the the poached eggs. So say if you've got 6 people coming around for brekkie and you want to cook 6 poached eggs at a time, you could probably get 4 in a saucepan this big. Probably 6 is taking it a bit too far. They need to be at room temperature as well. That's another tip, room temperature, because if you put 6 cold eggs into hot water like this, it would just go cold, wouldn't it? And then you'd be turning it up, trying to get it up high, and then it would be boiling, and then your eggs would be flailing, and just would all go wrong from there. So we've just got a very, very light, well, it's just hot, isn't it? It's just like poaching isn't really boiling. Poaching is poaching. This is poaching. So if you poach something like chicken breasts, this is what the water should look like. Shouldn't be boiling. Otherwise you're boiling the chicken breast. No wonder it's very like rubber and very tough after you've boiled it. So I think I've spoken for another 30 seconds at least. So let's try and pick this egg up now again. I did think it was a bit crazy. That there we go. All right, so you can see that egg is really, you can't actually see in that camera, can you? So I bring it around here. Still a bit overexposed, isn't it? You can see that egg is very, very bouncy, and I'm going to put that straight in the water. Now that halts the cooking process and therefore will stop the eggs from cooking. This one isn't quite as fresh as the other one, or maybe it's because I put it in from the cup, but we can just pop it into that ice water like that and that'll stop the cooking process. So I'm now going to just tip this water out, only because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist like that and I really want to have some nice looking water, not white from the egg before. So we'll put some more water on and I'll show you eggs from the start to the finish cooking at the end. But if you've got 6 people coming around for breakfast and you want to cook 6 eggs at a time, 20 people for breakfast, you can give poached eggs to 20 people now by doing exactly this. And then when you're ready to actually serve up the eggs, they'll be cold in there. You'll have your hot water boiling, turn it down, pop the eggs back in to warm through for a minute and a half, and Bob's your uncle, as they say in the kitchen when you're a breakfast cook. Yes.
2 questions. My question is, are you refilling the water as a filibuster for not having to break dance so that you don't have to break dance later? And also Jan would like to know, could you do the pre-cooking the day before?
Yeah, especially if you've got eggs like this and they're super fresh. Yes, Jan, you certainly can, and you just keep them. Doesn't need the ice. As soon as that egg's cooled down, you don't need the ice in it, but you can pop it into the fridge overnight, get them out the next day. Absolutely, no problem. You need the ice in there so that as the warmth of the eggs comes into the water, you need to have that water super icy cold so it stops it from cooking. In fact, those eggs are virtually frozen now. The water's so cold. So yeah, so if you put 6 eggs in there, for example, hot from the water, then you may have to put a handful of ice in to make sure that those eggs have cooled down and stopped cooking. So you don't want to overcook them to start off with, otherwise when you go and reheat them, they'll cook until they're solid. So Jan, if you do that and you're having friends around for brekkie, what I would certainly suggest is perhaps do it on the weekend, any weekend, when you're at home, you've got a bit of time, and just practice it a bit so that you know exactly how long you want to actually cook them for, so that you know how long they're in the water and how long you heat them up for. All right, so you may end up with a slightly overcooked egg a couple of times, but that's how you learn, isn't it? And that's perfectly all right. I'm sure you can live with that one. Okay, so I've let's get the bacon on, shall we? Whoop whoop. So I've just had my pan heating here just slightly. I was just watching a video the other day about people saying that if you cooked bacon in a cold pan, it doesn't stick with butter. But what I always say as a teacher, why? What does the butter do that the oil doesn't do? I can understand the heat process that the bacon doesn't stick, but I don't know. Mine's sizzling a little bit. So we'll see how we go with the bacon. I've got my trusty cover, learnt by my mistakes, haven't I? And I remembered that today. So my trusty cover, just in case it does spit. But I think this one will probably be all right. So I'll probably want to cook it for sort of slower and a little bit longer to get it nice and crispy. get the colour on there, but not have it spitting all over the place. So we're taking this really nice and easy today. Oh, watch out, I nearly did a bit of breakdancing then. I nearly went down on the floor and whizzed around like that, but I just stopped myself in time. Okay, let's go on to it's Emma that makes me silly. You watch when she goes back to work.
She'll
be really
go back
serious.
to being boring old Trace that everyone knows her as.
Yeah,
so
boring old Trace. Okay, so let's do this together. We're not doing it together at all, are we? I'm doing it myself. So you never quite know. These are Hass avocados, and I'm wondering whether these are sort of coming to the end of their season, because I know that we're getting, I think they're Fuerte avocados in our next fruit and veggie box. Sorry, Anthony? Reed avocados in our next box. So I'm wondering whether these ones are almost at their end. I do really like the taste of these ones though, and these are quite small, aren't they? So I think we'll just use a little spoon here. So I just cut the avocado in my hand. I just cut that bit off because it's a bit brown, wasn't it? So just using a spoon, I can take out all of the avocado in here really nice and easily, like that. And then I like this because you can cut the avocado into whatever shape you want to when you've scooped it all out like this. Whereas if you cut it into squares in the shell, then you have to have it squared, chunks. There's that. I'll just lift that up off the floor, otherwise there I go. I'd fall over that thing and you'd think that I was breakdancing, but I've actually just slipped on an avocado. Cutting my lemon in half.
Millie is asking, are you going to cook more eggs? She was concentrating how to sort out how to make comments and missed how to make the eggs.
No, you've missed it. What? Yes, I'm going to do two more. We're gonna have
Maybe we'll do two more eggs instead of breakdancing.
Two fresh ones from here. Yes, these ones, I'll tell you if I remember when I would take them out if you wanted to pre-cook them. At the end, we'll recap on that, okay? So, obviously, well, not obviously, but for smashed avocado, lemon juice is essential, okay? And the thing is about lemon juice is it will stop the avocados going brown. But what's the other thing that I should be putting in? If I've put lemon juice in something, what's the other thing I should be putting in this to balance out the flavours? Don't know. You're not allowed to answer, cameraman. There's no prize either.
Well, it's just knowing that you're the best is the prize.
Yes. Yes.
Jan says salt.
Yay! So salt will balance out the sourness, because if you just ate this like this now, your face would go something like this. Something along those lines. So you do have to be a little bit careful and make sure that you balance out the sourness with... There you go, I didn't stick on here, did it? Balance out the sourness with the saltiness of the salt. So I know it'll need about 2 pinches for those 2 little avocados. You can taste it as well. And do you know what? If you're learning about these flavours, very awesome tip. Just thought of this one. So taste it before you put the salt in, just with the lemon juice on. Then put the salt in, mix it round, taste it. And still, if you don't go, oh, delicious, then you've either got a rubbish avocado that doesn't taste of anything, or you haven't got enough salt in it. All right, so it will definitely, you go, oh, that's perfect like that. And it's training your taste buds to get to that stage as well, knowing when it is perfect. So there's a little thing in there, a bit of fibre, avocado fibre. So that's really going to be absolutely delicious. So smashed, not completely mushed or pureed, that's a different thing. This is smashed. All right, so I'm going to put the, what's the time? We're nearly finished.
It is 3:20.
3:20.
Yes.
What time did we start? Oh no, we're halfway through, aren't we?
Well, yes.
Ish.
A
Okay.
little under halfway through.
So, I wanted to show you some tomatoes as well. Now, the recipe for these roasted tomatoes is on the Cooks Collective. So, let me just say, for those of you who are watching from Matters of Taste website, which is fantastic, love it that you're there. But say if you've watched 2 of these Kitchen Connect lessons and you've really enjoyed them, for the same money, you could have a whole month on the Cooks Collective with hundreds of recipes and videos and techniques and bits and pieces to watch. So just think about that, because we're really trying to encourage more people to join the Cooks Collective, because we know the content that's on there, and it really is really delicious. So I was talking to somebody this morning about why I do what I do and what my end goal is, and it really is for people to experience the wonderful feeling that I get when I cook, because I love it. I love it if I'm stressed out, or if I'm worried about something, or I've just had enough, I'll go and cook, and it just calms me down, and I love it, and then I feed someone, and that makes me even happier because they're enjoying it. So it really is just a very sort of wonderful thing to do. Am I preaching to the converted? So these tomatoes, if you want to do roasted tomatoes for brekkie, I love these, but they do take sort of half an hour, 40 minutes. I've been sort of cooking these ones at about 160. I think it may say 180 degrees in the oven on the Cooks Collective, but you can try cooking them for lower temperature for longer if you want to. And I think that these look really just quite absolutely perfect, because they're sort of soft and they're sort of shrunken a little bit, but they're not dry. They're roasted tomatoes, so they've really intensified the flavour. Some of that liquid has evaporated out of the tomatoes, and so it's really intensified the flavour. And look at the colour of these together. It's absolutely beautiful. So this green and the red together is awesome, I think. And so obviously it just made my mouth water just saying that. Funny how your mind works, isn't it? Just that my toaster's popped up with the toast, but that's not quite ready. So I made a couple of loaves of sourdough on Monday night, and we had pumpkin soup with fresh bread, and then I gave half of it to Emma, another half a loaf to Emma, and we virtually finished the loaves. So I'm making, so what is it today? Wednesday. So I'm making another 2 sourdough loaves that I'll be cooking tomorrow. Look, that's beautiful bacon, crisped up. Slower, cook it slower. This is really to make me remember. Cook it slower for a little bit longer, and you'll get that lovely caramelization, which is called the Maillard effect. So it's browning the meat, browning the bacon. That's why we love that salty, umami sort of flavor, because it is actually the effect of browning things or caramelizing them. Is delicious.
You know what I do instead of bacon, because I don't have bacon?
Yep.
I do halloumi.
Yes.
So yum.
Yes. Halloumi would be lovely with this in place of the feta.
Oh,
so
yes, don't use both.
So today I'm
That's
using
excessive.
feta, but I thought I'd actually do a lovely salad. I've got a really nice sort of Mediterranean vegetable salad with grilled Mediterranean vegetables and halloumi and fresh tomatoes and bits and pieces. I thought I might zhuzh it up with a little mint dressing or something like that. That might be quite a nice one. So tomatoes in the oven, Roma tomatoes, always roast up better. They have got a thicker flesh and less seeds in them. So they are always better to roast. So I cut them top to bottom to roast like that. I've taken out the little eyes of them so that I don't get them, because that's what I normally do get. So when I'm making brekkie, I will always heat the plates in the microwave. So it's at this point in time that I whip the plates into the microwave, nothing else, no water, no nothing. I'll put 2 plates on for a couple of minutes and they'll heat through beautifully. My toast is ready. It's my sourdough. Are you thinking it's burning? No, it's not burning. It's perfect. A close up, please. I love that. That is great sourdough bread. Who made that? Oh, I think it was me. So I'm keeping that warm in the toaster. Here's this is just needs to go right down to virtually nothing. Okay, is Millie watching? Gotta have an answer.
Well, yeah, I mean, she said that her mouth's watering just looking at the bacon, so I
I
think
know,
she's watching.
It's funny, isn't it? Just be a bit mindful about when your mouth waters. It's just quite a fascinating thing that our brain and our gut are so closely connected, aren't they?
Happens to me when I look at cannellini beans.
Cannellini beans. We've got cannellini beans tomorrow. And do you know what? I think I might make this cannellini bean hummus, I've called it, from fresh cannellini beans, which are actually dried. But I thought I'd go through how to do that. But you can make it with a tin of cannellini beans.
We've got confirmation that Millie's watching.
Delicious with fresh cannellini beans.
Yeah.
That it just makes a huge difference. It's like making hummus with fresh chickpeas over tin chickpeas. That's okay. Whatever you want to do is fine by me. But I just thought if I give you the information that you need to do fresh cannellini beans, then you can choose, can't you? But if you don't know how to do them, then you can't choose. So tomorrow, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. So back to our water to cook the eggs, because everything is virtually, I think, now ready for this. Oh, the other thing you can do with the tomatoes, what we used to do at home, like when Dad used to cook breakfast for us when we were kids, my sister and I, Dad had just put the tomatoes in the pan and fry the tomatoes either side. Salt and pepper, fry them in olive oil, absolutely delicious. A little bit of the bacon flavour would go in them as well. So if you can't be bothered to do the roasted tomatoes in the oven, it's a quick way in a pan to do it. So let's recap about the eggs, shall we? Super fresh eggs. Go and watch the videos on the Cooks Collective where Colleen and I, if you just type in the Learn section eggs, it'll come up with all our egg videos. Fascinating stuff. And we need to revere these ingredients more as a society, like the Japanese revere salt. Did you know that, Em? They take the kids, because Em quite likes Japan and Japanese people, and because she's been there, I've never been there. And I read a little while ago that so there's a salt
Shaker.
No, not shaker. Like where you go to learn, museum. There's a salt museum in Japan somewhere where everything is all about salt, how it's mined, where it comes from, and how the different salts taste different from different parts and different where they've got them from. So the kids go on a school excursion to the salt museum.
Well, they're a big fishing country as well, because there's so many. They're an island. Yeah. So what do you need with fish every single time?
Well, salt and lemon.
Salt.
Do they have a lemon museum?
I don't know. I haven't gotten a chance to go if they have.
No. So more like vinegar, possibly. Sushi seasoning, I don't know. So this is where we want the water to be once we put a little bit of vinegar in here. And I just put a capful. The other day I saw a recipe and it said 2 tablespoons of vinegar in the water. Emma's on her phone. Wow, you're supposed to go like that, like the emoji. Like that.
Yeah, but they can't see me do that.
No, I could though. You're the only person I can see here, so I'm looking to you for reactions. So right near the water, Millie, you pop the egg in just very carefully like that. Like that. So that's one. You can do it with a cup if you want to, but I'm not going to because I don't like doing it with a cup really. Oops. And second one, in it goes. So there we go. All right.
Millie has asked, could you have a bigger pan and cook more than 2 at a time?
Yes, you can. The thing is, I suppose I suppose I'm trying to keep everything warm. See, this is the instinct of a chef, I suppose, and that's not like I'm not showing off or anything like that. But I just know that if we have, and I think I used to teach poaching eggs in a wider pan because I like to get more in because obviously you're going to eat more. But now, sort of thinking about it, a smaller pan like this would definitely be better than cooking it in a pan like that. Let's say, for example, because you look at all that area that can get cold air coming into it and cooling the air down, whereas this is like keeping everything really nice and cozy and warm and keeping those eggs just cooking. So I'm always on number 5, so my stove will go up to 12 is full on, and 0 is off, obviously. And number 6 is midway, so just lower than midway. And I find that this actually cooks the eggs but doesn't affect the shape of the eggs by making the eggs go all over the place. So let's pull all of this together. Now, Emma's idea of halloumi is a good one. That would be really good. You could possibly even leave out the, what am I trying to say? You could possibly even leave out the toast, couldn't you, with halloumi? I don't know why, but it's because it's flat, maybe, because I'm thinking of shape. So warm toast. We've got warm plates. Not really, but we have. You will have. And because we've got cold avocado, which I actually really love. And the only word I can think of it is juxtaposition of the cold and the warm together. I really, really enjoy that. So that's up to you what you want to do, but that's how I like it. Going to have the tomatoes. Now you can definitely have the tomatoes being nice and warm from the oven. Obviously mine aren't, because they've been out of the oven for a little while just because of timing today, but warm from the oven would be brilliant. They will definitely heat up very, very quickly in the oven, and I don't want to leave these eggs for too much longer, otherwise we're going to get overcooked eggs. So let me just bring them over here just for a second. And we are going to finish this a little bit early today, but having said that, you know, still learned quite a lot, I think, haven't we? I have. I've enjoyed it. I don't know whether does that look nice? You can't really see it there, can you? What, did you say yes or no? Yeah, from above. All right. Let's move these things out of the way.
Millie has said that she's a bit confused. How could she serve hot eggs at the same time for more than 1 or 2 people then? Because you haven't actually told us how to reheat the eggs.
Okay, so I'm going to take these eggs out now. Let's finish these eggs off, right? Let's finish this whole thing off, and then Millie, everything will become apparent in the next 7 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. So you want to make sure that you've got most of the water off that egg. Now you can either put feta like that or over the egg, totally and utterly up to you. Egg on the top. I just want to get these out of the water. So you can use whatever feta you want, really. You can use feta, like this is a nice marinated feta, which will obviously give a really interesting flavour. But you can use the hard feta if you want to and just crumble it. Most of the feta seems to be good feta. Let me just pop this back on here so I can show Millie. Get that on. Put that on again. And now these are the bits that my lovely friend discussed with me this morning about how to improve this even more. Is she said at Daisy's they'll put dukkha on theirs. Shall I leave one with dukkha and one with chili jam? And this is our beautiful chili tomato jam, which I tell you what, it's worth signing up to the Cooks Collective for a year for this chili jam, because it's amazing just to get that recipe. So you can either use dukkha or chili jam on the top, or both. Or the other thing that I thought of just before the show was something called Shichimi Togarashi. And that is a Japanese pepper, red pepper mix that you can pop over the top. So I'll just put it over here so you can see what it looks like, and it's delicious. So that will add a little bit of heat to there and make it really delicious. And if I can just slightly Oh, I just wish I knew what I was doing here. I know, I just so want you to...
Maybe we need to put dots on the table.
I've got a dot. I've actually got a dot. But anyway, that's what it looks like that.
Millie would like to
that.
know how long they would need to be cooked for a soft poached egg.
Like literally 2 minutes. Shall I cut this? It's probably overcooked now. This one, Anthony? Yep. There you go. Is that soft poached still? Yep. Just. Eggs and dukkha are brilliant together. I love it. So probably 2 minutes. Eggs at room temperature, Millie. All right? Eggs at room temperature. So that's really important that you don't have your eggs cold. It's going to cool down the water and stop the eggs from cooking, and just you'll run into all sorts of difficulties. Now, that egg yolk is still really very soft on there. So if I was going to reheat this, so we've cooled them in iced water, and now the eggs are more, they're set, obviously, or coagulated. They won't, we won't be worried about them flailing around anymore. What we want to do is get these heated relatively quickly, and then they, they're not, eggs aren't really thick, are they? So they'll heat through relatively quickly, and this is the joy of pre-poaching them. So you can get everything else sorted, and then you can preheat your eggs for a minute or so. As long as your water's, nice and hot, it's sort of close to boiling. And this should reheat your eggs enough. But as I said, practice. Soft poach, cooking from the start. Try 2 minutes, lift it out of the pan and just touch the egg yolk like that to check how cooked the egg yolk is. So obviously if it doesn't leave an indent in it, like meat when it's cooked, it will be springy like a latex pillow. So will the eggs. So when they're cooked, the yolk goes hard, doesn't it? So when you put your finger in it, it's not going to actually make a dent in it. But when they're still soft like this, just wondering what else I can put underneath so that when I cut this open, you can see. Oh, it's not a very attractive plate, but let's do it over here. So I just wanted to show you that that egg is now hot, and it will still be nice and soft. So even if you pre-cooked your eggs, they'll still stay nice and soft.
Yeah. Jan would like to know, would they keep cooking if you kept them in a warming drawer for about 20 minutes?
Yes. Very possibly. The only time that they won't keep cooking is if you have sous vide and you're cooking them at, up to 62 degrees or whatever. Can you just come in from the top shot there? So if I cut this open, you can see that that egg is still runny, and I can feel that that egg is warm right the way through. So the white is cooked, but the yolk is runny. So we've had that sitting in the water for, I don't know, what was it, 15 minutes or so? So it doesn't matter. Same with that one. That's beautiful. And you can, if you put your hand on the top, like you can feel it's really hot, like it's almost burning me. But I'm just being really brave. Like that. So whenever eggs are, like if I left these two in this bowl like this for 5 minutes, they'd probably be hard by the time I serve them up. So this is why you need to be ready with the eggs and the water and everything just at the right time. And that's why chilling the eggs down and then only needing a minute or so in the hot water, you can then pop them straight on the toast and off you go, and everything's nice and warm. So I think it's a good idea to have a helping hand for making this dish as well, rather than trying to do it on your own in the kitchen. Perhaps it might be a little bit stressful. But there again, try the different things. Just do a poached egg on toast with bacon first time around. Do some smashed avocado and have that with feta for lunch. One of my favourite things is like making bruschetta. So you get your toast, you get your bread, brush it with olive oil, put it on a cast iron grill or out on the barbecue, grill it either side so that it's so that it's toasty on either side but soft on the middle, and rub it with a raw clove of garlic, and it sort of acts like a grater, and grates some raw garlic on there, but it just smells so gorgeous. Smashed avocado on top, feta on top of that, roasted tomatoes. Beautiful, beautiful lunch.
Millie says that you said yesterday that teaching us to cook poached eggs was going to be boring, but it definitely wasn't.
I think I might have said that people may think it's boring, but I don't.
You won't think it's boring when you're eating a poached
egg. No, because so many people go out for poached eggs, and it's so easy to make at home. My thing is, if you've got an egg in the fridge, you've got dinner, haven't you? Scrambled, fried, poached, omelette. There's so many things that you can do with eggs. I just absolutely love them. And I want to thank Charlie and Colleen from the heart of my bottom for starting their very, very brilliant Charcoal Springs Eggs farm in Manjimup, because they are very exciting and excellent. And it's totally changed my life.
We're done now.
I really hope that is of interest, and it is educational. So next week we're going to do spinach and ricotta gnocchi. Yes, so excited. We're going to do sourdough the week after, because apparently I said yesterday it was 2 weeks. I'm a bit confused about that. So we're going to do sourdough, how to bake sourdough bread, not next week, but the week after. And also next week, I'm not 100% sure what else we're going to be doing, but we have got Emma's carrot cake coming up in the future. And the other recipe, when I was looking through my recipes last night, I found a tiramisu coffee cake that I made years ago, because my mum makes the best coffee cake. And I thought, how can we zhuzh that up? And I thought, what if we put like a tiramisu sort of icing on it? It's really, really, really nice. So that might have a little show as well. Anything else? Does anyone else want anything else?
Well, Millie's just said that she can't believe it because Mark has just said that he wanted to learn gnocchi. So it's like you read his mind.
Well, this is spinach and ricotta, so it's a little bit lighter than the potato gnocchi. We have got potato gnocchi on the Cooks Collective already in our Italian masterclass, so you can go and watch that. But it's a very similar, technique. So you can watch me roll it out, cut it, and cook it as well. So we're just going to do that with a very simple raw tomato and basil sort of Italian salsa. And I'm just about to put it up on the website so that Matters of Taste people can go and book for that one as well. So we've got some lovely things coming up. I'm going to be sending out newsletters this weekend as well to all the Matters of Taste people, as well as Cooks Collective on Friday with our Dishing It Up newsletter, especially for you. And we're going to have fun next week, and then the week after will be sourdough bread, right from the starter right through to the bread baking. We're going to do that over 3 lessons because I can't do it all in 45 minutes. That would be crazy. But thank you to Emma for coming in again today. Really lovely to have her here. And thank you to the cameraman for actually getting the sound on. Did I say that? The sound on, the picture on, everything going at the same time. And I hope you've enjoyed today's show. Go poach an egg. You don't have to eat it now. Pop it in ice water. Breakfast is ready tomorrow morning. Such fun. Thanks for watching.